So everyone wants to know how to start a successful clothing brand in 2023 or even 2024. The only issue is they don't know how to start a clothing brand and they don't know what process they should take or what's in the process to actually see the success. So I've got some good news for you guys because I'm going to be teaching you in this video exactly how to start a successful clothing brand starting from today. Now, before I carry on, I should introduce myself. My name's Camille Sattar, also known as the ECOM King, and I've been doing e-commerce now for almost 7 years. Now, I actually have real experience in the fashion world because I co-own two brands. One's called Solitaire, which is a high-end streetwear brand, and the other one is called Fad Closet, and it's an all-year-rounder fashion brand. Now, combined with those two stores, we've generated over $5 million in revenue, and they are both very profitable. Not just that, but my partner is also a fashion designer by trade, and she's been working with some of the biggest companies in the industry. So I definitely think it's fair to say that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to starting a successful clothing brand. So what I'm going to be teaching you guys today is how to choose a niche for your fashion brand, how to build an identity for your clothing brand, because that's so important. That will include how to create your logo, how to make your website look. I'm also going to be teaching you how to find manufacturers, the different fulfillment methods that you can use as a clothing company. I'm also going to be teaching you how to create designs, how to find people that can make designs for your companies. I'm going to be teaching you how to get tech packs created. I'm even going to show you one of my most recent tech packs for Fad Closet. And tech packs, if you don't know, are basically one of the most important parts to your brand, and if you don't know what it is, I'll explain later on. I'm also going to be teaching you what designs and what are the latest trends in fashion, whichever ones you're going into, so you know that you're picking a niche and a design that's going to make money. Then I'm going to be going over all the essential tools and services that you need so you can start your brand today. Then I'm going to be going over the best advertisement platforms to advertise your brand on, because I've spent over millions of dollars advertising our brands through different platforms. I'm also going to be showing you what ads work the best on these platforms. Now, what I've also done to make your life even easier is I've created a free Google Doc sheet that's going to contain all the different steps that I'm going to be going over today and all of the relevant websites and information that you need. So you guys need to really get access to that cheat sheet to help you with your success. Now, for you guys to get access to that, we need to hit 2,500 likes, and then it'll be in the pinned comment and in the description below. Now, before I actually get into the video today, it's important for you guys to understand that it's not easy starting a clothing brand. You're not going to get rich overnight. You will need to require some skills. You will need to invest some time into this, and you will need to also invest some money into your business. So as long as you're willing to commit to those three things, then you're on the right path. So let's get straight into today's video. So before I start teaching you guys the step-by-step methods to start on a successful clothing brand, I think it's really important for me to show you some proof that I actually know what I'm talking about. So as you guys can see on the screen, I'm inside of one of my Shopify dashboards. Now, Shopify is the website platform and the e-commerce platform that we use for all of our brands. Now, you can see I'm inside of the analytics page, and you can see I'm on last month, so meaning the last month of April 2023, and you can see we've done around about £70,000, and in dollars that's around about $80,000. So that's some incredible numbers. Now, the net profit for these numbers for last month was around about £34,000. So we're not just running a six-figure a month clothing brand, we're also running a highly profitable clothing brand. Now, if we change this to last year, you're going to see the numbers are going to change to around about £370,000, because we were basically downscaling the clothing brand for mid-year. So half of the year last year we weren't scaling, we were actually downscaling, and then as soon as we started sorting some stuff out, we started to scale again. Now, if we were scaling for the whole of 2022, we'd have probably finished off at around about $800,000 to around about $1.2 million. Now, don't worry, I will show you all the results for the end of 2023 in an update video, and we should be at around about $1 million to $1.5 million. Now, do bear in mind that was only one of our clothing brands. If I show you another one, you can see it's done $1.5 million, and you can see a graph of how everything's going. Now, this is more of a seasonal clothing brand, but we're now changing it into an all-season clothing brand. So these little declines here and here and here is because of the seasonal wear of the clothing brand. It's a winter brand, but we are now going to make it an all-season brand, so that will fix this issue. Now, the reason why I'm showing you these numbers isn't to show off or to rub it in your face. It's because I want to stay as transparent as possible, and there's not many people on YouTube nowadays that are as transparent as I am on this channel, and it's important that you know you're learning from somebody that actually runs clothing brands that are successful and profitable. Now, if we take a look at Solitaire as a clothing brand, it is a high-end streetwear brand, and some of the biggest rappers in the game have worn the clothing brand. NBA players, Premier League football players, you name it, we've had some really big people in our clothing brand. And I want to make this very clear, we do not pay any of them a single penny to wear their clothes. They wear it because they love the clothes. And they don't just love the clothes, they love the culture that we're building with the clothing brand. Now, with all of the transparency out of the way and the proof, let's get into the juicy part of this video, which is how you can launch a clothing brand right now. So the first thing that you need to know is what to avoid in 2023. Now, these are based on my opinions in the industry. The first thing that I'd highly recommend you avoid is fast fashion. Now, fast fashion is like Zara, H&M, where you're just putting loads of clothes into the market as quick as you can to meet the demand and the trend that's currently going on. Now, fast fashion is a really hard business model to do because of the warehouse, the infrastructure, the stock. There is so much that goes into it that makes it so hard, and I don't recommend doing it if you want to build a long-term brand. If you look at things like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, if you look at Dior, they're not fast fashion. They don't do it like fast fashion, and they are worth so much more money than those other brands I just mentioned. Now, it's up to you if you want to do it. I personally don't do it, and I personally won't ever do it. Now, the second thing is, if you're looking to get into clothing and fashion just to copy somebody, then you're not in this industry for the right reasons. Now, there are some other points that I've listed on this Google Doc. They're not as important as the ones that I've just mentioned, so once you get access to this Google Doc sheet, you can read the rest of them. Now, let's go over how to pick your clothing brand niche or style. Now, this will depend on who you are as a person. I always say pick the niche based on your style, your passion, and your knowledge. Now, some of the most popular niches are streetwear, are hippie brands, are casual wear, are athleisure. Now, if you don't know what athleisure is, it's basically gym wear, but making it trendy and fashionable. Then you've got punk clothing. There's loads of other ones. The most popular ones, though, are streetwear and athleisure. Now, for example, I'm in the high-end streetwear industry, and the reason why we're in that industry is because I've got a passion for it. I understand the culture. I've got knowledge in it. There's no point me getting into one of these if I have no clue what I'm doing. Now, for most people that are watching this, you either have a passion or knowledge for one of those industries, and that's why you want to get involved, because you want to add your own twist to one of these. Now, if you're looking to get into clothing or fashion for money grabbing, meaning that you're looking at streetwear at the moment, you've seen it blow up everywhere and you're thinking, I'm going to make money from this, then you're probably not going to make money because you have no clue how that industry or culture works. Now, you've got to understand that each one of these are a culture. So streetwear is related to certain music, same with the other ones, certain people that are wearing it, history behind it. And if you don't know any of this, then you won't understand how to build a brand into these different industries, niches, and cultures. Now, let's go over how to build a brand identity by picking a brand name, a logo, a website look, and photography. Now, the first thing that I want to show you guys is two different websites that analyze different brand logos, and I'll leave links to these all in the cheat sheet. Now, you can see this is the first logo that we're going to be analyzing, because this is going to help you understand how to create great brand names and great logos. So the first one is Fendi. Now, Fendi is two Fs, one being up, one being upside down. Now, the F represents one of the owners, and this is a sibling, so you can see the last name is Fendi. The other one is called Adele or Deal Fendi, so that represents the other F. Then if we actually look at the worded part of the logo, it just reads Fendi, which is the last name of the owners, and it's in a certain font. This is one of the most popular ways that people do logos in the clothing world. Now, another really common way to do logos is having a symbol and then having a word underneath it. Now, this is one of the most popular iconic ones, Versace. Now, there's three components to this logo that make it very simple but very visually pleasing. Now, we have to understand the background of who owns Versace or who founded Versace. It's a Greek person, so they've used Greek history in the logo. So you've got the Greek keys in the background, you've got the Medusa face, which is obviously a mythological creature in the Greek world, so they've got that at the front. What does Medusa stand for? What does Medusa mean? Those little hidden gems. Then you've got the name of the owner, and the last name is Versace, and they've got it here underneath. Remember, there's three simple components that they've used for this logo, but it's very visually pleasing and it's very rememberable. Now, why is it very rememberable? Because we all know who Medusa is, we all know what Greek keys are, and the actual name itself is nice off the tongue. And again, this is another very common way that people do logos. They have a symbol that means something and then the word of the last name underneath the symbol. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to create a symbol and have your last name underneath it. It really doesn't mean that. These are just some examples that you can use. Now, if we look at another really good example, and this one is the North Face. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who the North Face is. It's an outdoor wear brand, and you can see here it says the North Face, and then it has these three little bars here. I don't know what they're meant to be. I guess it's meant to look like the side of the North Face, which is obviously Mount Everest. Now, if you analyze this logo and really think about it, the North Face, so the north side of Mount Everest, then you've got like a visual look of the side of Mount Everest. What does this really mean? Now, this isn't the surname of the owner. This is very different. This is one that makes you think. So you're thinking about it. If you were to be in front of Mount Everest, that's a very big achievement to want to achieve. You want to go up to the top of Mount Everest. That is every everyone's dream. So it really makes you think, what are you trying to do? If you're buying an outdoor clothing brand that's designed for you to go up these mountains, which one do you want to buy? You want to buy the one that's about Mount Everest because that's the best of the best. So it's all about your perception. Now, a lot of logos leave little clues to help with the perception that you have for the logo. Now, overall, most people will have a similar perception for the logo. There might be 20% of people that have a different look for it, but most people will be on the same page. And again, this one's very different. This one isn't about the person that owns it and their last name being in it, or the symbol means something to do with them. It's very different. Now, I'd highly recommend that you guys read all of these and the analogies and the reasons why they were made, because it will help you learn how to create your own logo and the styles and the designs for them. Now, if I actually give you a real life example of one of ours, which is called Solartal, and my co-owner and the founder is Jordan Nicklin, and you can see Solartal means one and others is an identity, which is high-end fashion meeting street culture, the latest collection for men and women, and it meets elements of high-end fashion influenced by urban design. And if we look at the logo, it isn't really a complex logo, it just says Sol et al. Now, in terms of the simplicity of the logo, what does the logo look like? It's just words. But what you could do is you could use fonts that represent urban, you could use fonts that represent streetwear, you could use fonts that represent high-end. You don't literally need visuals that represent it, but you can use different ways to represent these things. At the end of the day, you just want your logo to have some form of meaning, and you want the logo to really emphasize on that meaning. And it doesn't mean that you need to be over the top with it. You can be subtle with it, guys. Now, what I'd recommend that you guys do is get a pen and paper, get your iPad, get your laptop, and just keep writing down loads of brand names, loads of ideas for logos. Not actually make the logo, but come up with some ideas. What do I want in my logo? What font do I want to use? Or what symbols do I want to use in my logo? What is your background? What's your ethnicity? What's your culture? How does that fit into the niche that you want to get into? If it's streetwear, if it's hip hop, if it's punk, if it's whatever. Now, these are things that you need to think about, write down on a piece of paper. And there's a reason why you want to write this down, because what you want to do is you want to hire a logo professional. Now, normally I just tell people to go to logo makers, but when it comes to actually starting a clothing brand, it's not as simple as just going to one of those websites where you can create a logo in 5 minutes, because they are terrible, they don't look professional, and they won't work when it comes to high-end fashion or just fashion in general. Now, a really good reliable website is fiverr.com. You can come here and hire freelancers. Now, I've just typed in logo and you can see loads of freelancers are here. You got Fiverr's Choice, you got Top Rated. Now, the logo you want to get created is an Adobe Illustrator logo. That is the minimum, or Photoshop. And the reason why is because you want logos that have been made by hand and then done through Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop. You don't want to be using templates that people then use for loads of different clients, or one of those websites where you can get them made really quickly, because they're not unique and they're not designed for your own culture or actual fashion industry. So when you work with one of these Top Rated or Fiverr Choice logo makers, they're going to ask you for ideas or inspiration, and that's where it comes down to what you've written down on your piece of paper, your iPad, or your notes. That's what you want to send them, because they're going to take all that information and then make it some form of art in terms of a logo. Now, when you hire a freelancer to create you a logo, it doesn't have to be on Fiverr, it could be on Upwork, or it could be a local business that you may know. You just want to make sure that you ask them for the vector file, you ask them for the PNG file, and you also ask them for the PSD as well, because you want to see what components they've used to create the logo, because you don't want to hire somebody that just goes and uses templates, then adds a little tweak to it and says it's your logo. You want to make sure that it's a logo that's been made from scratch. Now, if your logo is just going to be very simple in terms of words and you're just using a font, then you could use one of those really high-end font makers. So there are companies out there where you can use their fonts that are premium fonts to create a logo. And if that's the route you want to go down, where you're just going to have a font as your logo, then that's fine. I will leave some really good websites that can create you really good premium fonts in the cheat sheet. But if you're looking for symbols or maybe some twerky looking fonts, then definitely hire a freelancer. And this can cost you from $50 up to $200, maybe $300, but it is a one-time investment that I'd highly recommend. Now, some other really popular ways that brands use to create identity is through their photo shoots, what models they use, how their website's laid out, the typography. Those are the main ways to do it. Now, if we head over to Shopify themes, I'd recommend that you use a paid theme and you go to clothing. So as soon as you've got a Shopify plan, you go to browse themes, you go to here on the left where it says industry, you change it to clothing, and then it's going to show you loads of different premium themes. Now, before you pick a premium theme, if you use my exclusive Shopify link, you're going to get 2 months of Shopify for $2, which means you're going to be paying $1 per month for 2 months, and then you'll be on a $29.99 plan, and you'll also get exclusive content through a Shopify email. So as soon as you sign up to one of these plans, you will get an email from Shopify with an exclusive link to my Teachable. And on my Teachable, I give out exclusive content that I don't give out on my YouTube channel. So by using my Shopify link, you help support me, but you're also going to get benefits like cheap Shopify plans and exclusive content. So as soon as you've got that Shopify plan, like I said, browse the theme library and you want to choose one of these themes that match your identity. So if you're a streetwear brand, you might want to go for a certain theme. If you're a minimalistic brand, you might want to go for this theme. If you're an athleisure brand, you might want to go for this theme right here. If you're an older women's brand, you might want to go for this theme here. Or a modesty brand, you might want to go for this theme here. If you're a sportswear brand, you might want to go for this theme. If you're a minimalistic brand, you might want to go for this theme. Whichever one represents yours the most by just looking at it, that's probably the theme you might want to go for. Again, if you're into athleisure, you might want to go for this theme called Streamline because it looks like it's designed for that niche. And the reason why I'm recommending Shopify premium themes is because they're the ones that you can use forever and they're going to give your brand a higher end feel, especially if you want to get into that type of industry. You can use a free theme, but you're just not going to get the same feel and you're not going to get the same identity that I was talking about before. And fingers crossed, if your clothing brand does really, really well, you can then get a custom theme built that is completely unique to yours. And that's what we're currently getting done for one of ours right now, but it does cost a lot of money. And that's why we used a paid theme to start with, and then we advanced out. Now, I'm not going to be teaching you guys how to use the Shopify theme editor in this video or how to get a domain name because I've done that in a different video that I'll leave a link to in the cheat sheet. Now, let's cover one of the hottest topics, which is fulfillment methods and basically creating your stock. So the three methods are the pre-order method. Now, this is one of the most popular methods that even some of the biggest brands in the world still use today. And the reason why is because it reduces risk. Now, how the pre-order model works is you've got a design in mind, you've got the manufacturer that will create it, but they've not made any of the clothes yet. Now, most manufacturers work on a 30 to 50 minimum order quantity. Now, let's say, for example, you want a unique design of cargo pants or a varsity jacket, you would have to place a minimum of 30 to 50 units for them to send it to you. Now, most people don't want to risk spending that money up front. So what they'll do is they'll do a pre-order model where they want to see that proof that people are interested or there's customers that are willing to buy that design. And then as soon as they get close to that 50 units or 30 units, then they'll start placing the order. That way they're reducing the risk. Now, the downside to that is customers might have to wait weeks on weeks depending on how long it takes you. Now, let's say, for example, your supplier says the minimum order quantity is 50. You get up to 30 pre-order orders, then you might take the hit on the 20 other orders and take that cost. Now, for this to work, you do need to put on your website a pre-order button in terms of changing it from add to cart or buy now to pre-order. And then you do need to fill out the information in terms of when they can expect to get it and the reason why you're doing a pre-order. You don't need to literally put because we want to test to see if it works. You can just say there's high demand, or you can say it's exclusive drop, or you can say we're going through sampling. I don't know, but you do need to give a reason and a good reason why you're doing it. Now, I would advise that most beginners use the pre-order model. Even if you start to scale and you're not sure in a collection, you test out on a pre-order model. That way you're reducing risk. But please, for me, guys, do not go on to pre-order forever models because I see people doing it and it can destroy and kill your brand. I was literally just on a business call about 2 weeks ago with a woman that was on a pre-order model forever, and she's literally just killed her whole brand by doing it that way because customers get fed up. Not just that, it's hard to manage cash flow. You can sometimes get carried away. It's not a great way to grow a company long term. And if you look at the biggest clothing brands, they do small amount of pre-order, 70% normal stock made to buy. Now, the next one is called made to ship. Now, made to ship is where you've got a manufacturer, you've got a design, and you've got it made. So it's basically been made by the manufacturer. It's been sent to your home where you're fulfilling it from your home or you're fulfilling it from a local warehouse. So it's ready to ship. All you're waiting for is the customer to place an order on your website. You go to your home address where you're stocking it, whether it be in your bedroom, your garage, or you go to your local warehouse, and then you're getting your shipping label, you're putting it on the packaging, and then you're sending it via DHL, DPT, UPS, whichever company you're using, but it's ready to go as soon as you get the orders through the door. Now, this is what 90% of clothing brands use, up to 70% of their fulfillment method. Now, the last method is print on demand, or otherwise known as POD, and the most popular company for this is called Printerful. Now, Printerful are the biggest guys that are doing it with the most warehouses, with the biggest catalog. Now, what print on demand is, it's where you're using basically graphic designs or you're using very simple designs, and basically these print on demand companies have a catalog of garments that you can print a design on, whether it be through vinyl or embroidery, but they've got a very limited range of garment designs. You can't go out there on those websites and create your own unique garment. You're limited to their garments. The finishes on the sleeve is what they give you. The finishes on the drawstrings is what they give you. The finishing on inside is what they give you. you. You can't add your own creativity or design to the garment. You're just sticking to what they've got, and you're putting a design on top in terms of graphics, visuals, through embroidery or through a vinyl or through other D&G methods. Now, I'm not saying print on demand's bad. I know loads of people that have been able to do 7 figures with print on demand, but if you're looking to build a real identity long term and to build a real asset long term, I don't think print on demand is the best way. No company on the big scale are doing it like this. If you think of any of the biggest guys in your industry, I promise you they're not using print on demand. They might now and again, but they do not use it for the majority of their fulfillment method, because the key component is identity and design and the unique type of the way you're making your clothing, and you just can't do that with print on demand companies. Now let me teach you and show you how we find our suppliers for our clothing brands. Now I'm not going to give you my exact manufacturer, no one will ever do that, so just bear that in mind. Now what we do is we go to Alibaba.com and we type in the industry that we're in. For example, streetwear is what we're looking for as the actual example in today's video. Now if you're into, let's say for example, punk clothing, hip hop, hippie, you could type that in here and then click search. Then you want to filter it by verified manufacturers, that way you're only working with trustworthy people. And then once you've done that, you're going to get the company names that are the manufacturers, the ratings and reviews, the capabilities in terms of what services they can provide, the types of customizations. Then they're going to give you 2 images here on the right of their most popular clothing right now, and then a final image showing you how they're currently making it. So for example, this one is a heat press showing you they're using heat presses. This one's showing you more of a complex machine to make the clothing, but here you can see the different types. So for example, these ones here are more specializing in cargo pants and more sportswear, high street fashion. Now the truth is, when it comes to this, guys, you just want to go through all of these different manufacturers, and once you go through them, you're going to open up a page and it's going to give you more information. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to here where it says see all verified capabilities, click on it, and these are all the things that they can do for you. Now if you highlight over the information icon, it's going to tell you what they can do. You can see here full customization. This supplier supports customization based on specific requirements and description. Sample based customization, so you can do samples. Now samples are key, so if your manufacturer won't give you samples, that straight away is a red flag. Do not use them. But I can't emphasize this enough, guys. Make sure you read all of these and the quality control, because this is all important. You want to make sure all of these are mandatory, because if there's no quality control, then your clothing brands are going to be terrible. Now by going on all products, it's going to show you all the ones that you can use from the manufacturer. It doesn't mean they're all customizable. So if you go back to where it says customizable, now all of the ones here you can actually customize. Now it doesn't mean you can fully customize them. It might be just you adding your logo here. Maybe you can add it in a vinyl, embroidery, maybe through a metal tab. Maybe you can even change the way the garment looks. Again, you don't want to just be putting your logos on here, guys. You might want to also change the whole way the garment looks. You might want to add loads of different unique ways of the garment design. So this is really important that you go through all of these, guys, and then you want to hit contact supplier. Now when it comes to contacting the supplier, the most popular ways is WhatsApp, Skype and WeChat. Now I actually have a Xiaomi phone and I also have an iPhone. Now this phone is just designed for me contacting my suppliers, because I prefer using WeChat because it's quicker, and WhatsApp. Now when contacting these manufacturers, you want to negotiate on the minimum order quantities. So let's say for example, I'm interested in this here, this jacket here. I want to make that one of my unique garment designs. I might say, what are the minimum order quantity? Here it's saying 100 pieces. I have to order 100. You might be able to negotiate that down to 30 or to 50. So that's why I'm asking you to ask them that on the WeChat or the WhatsApp. And you can also contact them and say, what are the full customizations? You might want to show them examples. Can I do X, Y, and Z to this garment? If they say yes, then you're happy. If they say no, you might want to find somebody else. And the truth is, you don't want to just choose one manufacturer. We use between 3 and 5 at any one given time. One for knitwear, one for, let's say, cargos, one say for outdoor. You don't want to just stick to one, because they're going to be limited in terms of what they can give you. And one of the most important things to understand is you need to build rapport and respect with these manufacturers, because the more rapport you build, the more they're going to treat you nicer. Now the truth is, these suppliers and manufacturers are in it for themselves. They're in it for their money. Remember, these minimum order quantities is basically their margin. The more they make you buy, the bigger their margin. The smaller, basically the less margin they make. Now let's say for example, for them to be at break even, they only have to make 10. That means they could go all the way down to 20 pieces and still make profit, but it's nowhere near as big as if they were to do 100. So these are things that you need to take into consideration. Now another thing that I want to say is a lot of it comes to trial and error and testing. Now the amount of manufacturers that we've had to go through in terms of sampling, actually trying them out and seeing how it goes, guys, we've gone through like 50, 60 different ones till we find ones that we're happy with. Honestly, when it comes to fashion and clothing, it's just part of the game, just trialing and testing. testing and seeing which ones you like the most. And again, some other questions you might want to ask them is, who are your biggest clients? Are you allowed to tell me? Can you give me proof? By asking those types of questions, let's say, for example, one of the biggest competitors that you're interested in is working with them, that's a good sign. Now, by asking those types of questions, it will help legitimize the manufacturer and you being happy with working with them. Because let's say one of the biggest people in the industry is working with them. That is a massive green flag as long as they can prove it. Now, I've also put another 10 to 20 questions that you want to ask them in the cheat sheet. I'm not going to go over them all in this video, but I've given you another 10 to 20 optional questions to ask them to help get a good supplier or manufacturer. So make sure you get access to that cheat sheet once we hit 2,500 likes. Now let's go over how to create designs for your clothing brand that are unique and that are going to make money. Now, if you go over to Fiverr again and type in clothing brand designs, then you're going to find loads of freelancers. Now, these people are artists, by the way. They're just doing the artwork for you. You can hire people. I will design your streetwear brand, merch, varsity college jackets. So this person here will do all the artwork for you when it comes to creating a varsity jacket, and you can see their Fiverr's choice. Now, the pros of hiring artists is you just send them a list of things that you want to see within the garment. For example, if I'm working on a varsity jacket and I want X, Y, and Z to be in that varsity jacket, you tell them, and then it's their job to work as an artist and to make it look good as a piece of clothing or a garment. Now, the only downside to doing it this way, guys, is it can get expensive working with designers and illustrators and art designers long term. It can cost you hundreds of dollars a month, but you're going to get better work than yourself. Now, if you're very good at doing it yourself, then you might as well do it yourself, or you might as well try and learn to do it yourself, because you will save a lot more money and you'll get more creative doing it yourself. Now, I want to make this very clear. There's nothing wrong with you hiring artists and designers as long as you're giving them ideas. Don't just get them to do all the work. As long as you're feeding them information, like you're feeding them with the logo in terms of the ideas you've got, that's completely fine. Now, if you look at some of the biggest clothing brands in the world, a lot of the people that own them or are high up in those clothing brands, they don't design it. They just give the designers the ideas and then they go and do the work. But talking from a startup point of view, sometimes that's not the best option. Now, if you're watching this video and you're actually really good at designing and creativity and stuff like that, then some of the apps that we use is called Procreate. So if you type in Procreate on your iPad, you can download it on an app. Now, it's only available on iOS and the iPad. So if you're really good at designing, then this is what it looks like when you use Procreate. It's basically an app designed for artists, people that are into fashion, people that are into like artwork. This is perfect for you. Now, my wife actually uses this app all the time to create designs, mock-ups, ideas. A lot of the times it's just a sketchbook for her to come up with some ideas, and then she goes into a bit more advanced stuff to actually create even more designs. But like I say, Procreate is a great application if you want to sketch, come up with some ideas, and basically turn it into a real life garment. Now, something else that you can do is come to this website here called Vecteezy. Now, you can download vectors on here. So for example, all of these are downloadable for free. And the reason why you might want to download a vector like this is because you might want to download it, input it into Adobe Illustrator, and then just attach your designs to it. Now, let's say, for example, you don't want to create the garment itself, but you want to add the design to it and make some tweaks. You can do it by downloading vectors like this. Now, if you change it to, let's say, pro license, you're going to get some more better garments coming up. So it less basic looking ones. Now, you've got some denim garments coming up. Then you've got some sportswear garments coming up. So you've got some advanced stuff coming up, varsity jackets, track suits. So you can download these and do what you want to them and send them to a designer or send them to your manufacturer. Now, if you want to take things to the next level, you can go to Etsy or other similar websites and get vector files. And you can see here it says streetwear vector mockup pack streetwear template bundle, and it's available in Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and Procreate. So these are the main three applications that most people work with. And you can see they're giving you varsity jackets, and you can see this is a live video of what you can do with these vectors as soon as you've downloaded them. So you can change them, you can make them how you want. You can see here some varsity jackets. So if you wanted to, you could download the vector, completely change the way this looks, but at least you've not had to work out the measurements here. You've not needed to work out how to do the zip. You've not needed to know how to do the seams. All of the hard work's been done for you, like the pocket design. All you need to do is add the design. So these are some examples, and you've even got the matching trousers to go with them. So this is a really good option, especially if you're not very good when it comes to creating the outline of the garment. Now, something else I'd recommend that everyone uses is a research tool that helps you find garments or designs that are proven to work. Now, especially if you're starting a brand new clothing brand, you want to try and find designs or styles inside of an industry. So for example, right now, varsity jackets are doing crazy numbers in the streetwear industry. Now, how you can find stuff like that out is by going to a website called Peakster and creating an account for $19.99 a month. And the prices will be going up a lot soon. I'll be going over that in a minute. Going over to where it says TikTok ads. Now, what this tool will show you is TikTok paid ads. Now, what I've done is I've gone to the search bar and haven't typed in streetwear, you can type in whatever industry you're in inside of fashion, and then it's going to show you paid ads on TikTok. So people that are spending money for these to be shown on TikTok, and you're going to see loads of different ads. So you can see here, this brand here, I might not just want to look at the ad. I might also want to go on the ad, go to the website and look at the whole website. But by using a tool like this, you can find loads of websites, you can find loads of ads, and you can see the types of designs that are doing really well. So instead of you having to guess cargo trousers here coming up, you can see these ones coming up. Instead of you guessing which types of styles are working well right now, you can find ideas and then create your own design on those styles. Now, another really powerful tool within Peakster is called track stores. So if you find a clothing brand that you want to kind of do investigations on, now one I've done is Amiri. Everyone's heard of Michael Amiri. I've investigated his store by using track stores. You enter the Shopify URL and then it's going to show me the turnover. So 10th of May is today and they've already done $11 million. It's not even the end of the month, they've done $11 million. It's going to show me their best sellers. What are their best sellers? A varsity jacket. I'm interested in a varsity jacket. Snapbacks, hats. What are the last orders on their website? Sneakers, jeans, t-shirts, graphic t-shirts, blanks, cargos. Why do I want to know that? Because then I know what types of styles to sell. I need to sell cargo trousers, but with my own unique design. I need to sell varsity jackets with my own unique design. I'm not copying, I'm looking for what's working well right now so I can also capitalize on it. It's also going to show me the advertising networks they're using: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the apps that they've installed, because I want all of this on my store as well. So this is a really good data point for you to find information out instead of taking too much risk. Because the truth is, we can all get crazy creative with our clothing brands, but if it's not going to make money, then it's a big risk. Now, another really good tool within Peakster is called PPC Insights. Now, Google Ads is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, platforms for clothing brands to use. And by using this tool, it's going to show you all the kind of strategies they're using on Google, so you can look at their insights and use it for your own Google Ads when it comes to what keywords to rank for, what kind of catalogs they're doing. So this is a really powerful tool to use. Now, these are only a few really powerful tools that I use in Peakster for my own stores to help me gain knowledge and information and sales through my stores. Now, if you head over to peakster.com, you can see the prices are going to be increasing at the end of the month on the 30th. So it's going to be going from $19.19 on a month, which is dirt cheap, which is only $20 a month, and it might be going up to $40 a month, $50 a month, who knows? But if you get your price now before it goes up, then you'll only ever pay $19.99 a month instead of the new price. So even in 2 years, you'll only ever pay $19.99. Now, if you leave and then come back, you'll be on the new price. So make sure you lock this in whilst it's cheap. The software inside of Peakster is too undervalued, and that's why the price will go up. Now, if you look at similar tools in the market to Peakster, they're charging triple, quadruple, sometimes even 10x the price of Peakster, and that's where you want to get it whilst it's dirt cheap. So as I was just teaching you guys how to find designs, how to find artists, what softwares and tools we use, what mockups we use, this is going to help me lead into tech packs. So what are tech packs? Tech packs are essential for your clothing brand. When you work with manufacturers, they will all ask you for your tech packs, because your tech packs will give them a digital sketch of the garment, the construction details, the trims, the measurements, the fabrics, the size, the look, inspiration, the colors, the artwork scales. These are all things that manufacturers need to know. If they don't get this information, your garment will turn out really bad. It won't be how you want it to look. Now, tech packs, you can download templates online. You can hire somebody to make them. You can do them yourself inside of Illustrator or Photoshop. Now, what I'm going to be doing with you guys is I'm going to show you two of the most recent tech packs for Fad Closet that my wife created. So as I promised in the intro, I'm literally showing you guys some of the work that my wife's done for the clothing brand. So this is stuff that you won't find many other YouTubers showing you or teaching you. So you can see here in the top left, we've got the logo Fad Puffer Jacket FAD-M-09. M stands for male. And then here's the number of the product. And then you've got AW23 menswear designer. Then it's my wife's name. Then it goes over the color, the actual TCX, the fabric being used. And then it shows you a graphic kind of design of what it should look like once it's made. And again, it's a graphic design. This is what it will look like in graphic format. Now, if we change the PDF to page 2, you can see now we start to get a little bit more into detail. Now we're going over what fabric we want to use on the zip cover, what type of zip we're using, silver, fastening mechanism, what type of puffer are we using, how much puffing are we using, what type of stitching are we using on the edge of the puff. Then we're going over the pocket designs, what brand of zip are we using? We're using YKK zips. So this is where you need to go into detail of how you want your garment constructed. Now, on the right hand side, it says, please see inspiration for the exact puffer volume and shape. Now, this is a really good golden trick that not many people will teach you. So what a lot of fashion designers will do is they'll order an inspirational product that is similar to what they want to create. So for example, this coat is not the exact same thing we're designing. It's very different, but we like the shape. We like the way it fits on the model. So we ordered a sample of this from Zara to our house, and then we can look at the measurements. We can look at the fabric they've used. We can look at the shape they've used. And then that way we can use it as a base frame for our coat. And I want to make this very clear. We're not copying, we're just using it as a template and we're modifying it in terms of what we don't like. We might not like the corduroy they're using. We might not want it to be corduroy, so we can take that bit out. We might not like the zip they're using, the circle zip. We might want to make it a normal zip. These are things that we might change when we create our own garment. Now, if you look at the next page, this is the interior of the garment. What are we using inside the sleeves? And then we're going over the measurements, the chest size, the arm size, the sleeve size, the neck size. Now, a lot of you guys might be asking, where did the size chart come from? How are we using it? Where did we get it from? Now, if you ordered an inspirational garment in terms of what to look at, in terms of how to construct yours, and you're using a similar sizing guide, you can just use the one off their website. So we got one off Zara and we made a few adjustments to it. So by looking at this tech pack, guys, you can see what's inside: measurements, interior, exterior, inspiration from other garments that we're interested in, the overall graphic design. So this is what the end will look like, these little details. So if we look at the inspiration we sent, look at this compared to this, they're totally different. But we started with this as the base frame. Now, if I show you another one really quickly, you can see this is a shirt. We're going over the color again. Then we're going over some inspiration for the actual pockets, the buttons that we're going to use in terms of where we want the stitching, where we want the buttons, how big do we want the pocket size to be. These, so look, you got your own pocket size information here. So these are just for the pocket sizes. Then you got the overall sizing. So these are the types of things that you need inside of your tech pack. And if you don't know where to get tech packs from, you can go back to Etsy again and download tech packs by typing in tech pack template. You can buy them for $10, $50, $30. You can get them from Etsy and start adjusting them yourselves. And once you've bought one, you can use them again and again and again. Now, my wife creates them all basically from scratch in Photoshop. So basically from Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, she creates them from literally a blank canvas. Now, again, that will come with time in the industry, creating them slowly over time. You will naturally be able to get to that level. Now, if you don't want to do that or you can't do that, you can hire again people on Fiverr or Upwork to create you a tech pack. That's completely fine, but tech packs are essential for your brand. Now, let's go over the essential tools and services you need for your clothing brand if you want to start it today. So this is what you need to do. Go to Amazon and you want to buy this thermal printer for shipping labels. Now, this is one the Amazon chooses and it's their choice of one to use. And this is the one that most people use as a startup in the clothing industry. Now, what will this do? This will connect to your laptop, your computer, Shopify. And once you get orders that come through, you can create the shipping label. And then once you've got a shipping label, then you need to go on Amazon and buy these. These are polyposter self-seal bags. So what does your clothing go into? To start with, you're just going to put them in these little bags here, and then you're going to send them to your customer. So you need the shipping label maker, then you need the polyester bag to then put the clothing in, to then send it to their address. Now, once you have a Shopify account, once somebody places an order like this, you go to more actions, print, pack and slip, and then that's what you need to use, and then that will get sent to this machine, and then you put that off the machine onto that, and then you send the orders. It doesn't matter where you're fulfilling the orders from, whether it be your house, whether it be a small warehouse, your friend's house, you're going to need them for your customer to receive the parcel. And to give you guys a broad overview of how this will look is you'll get your garments made from the manufacturer in China or Pakistan. Those are the two most popular places. We only use China right now. And then once you've ordered a minimum order, so let's say 30 to 50 garments, let's say of a t-shirt or a pair of cargo bottoms, they get sent somewhere, whether it be your house, a small warehouse, your friend's house, the basement. Then from there, you then put the packaging slips in and then you send them off. So that's how this works in terms of a business model. So that's how I want you to visualize it. Those are the steps in terms of getting it to your end consumer. So now you guys have got everything you need to actually start sending products out to your customers once you've started ordering them in from your manufacturer. You now need to talk about your ads and the visuals on your website, perhaps maybe the visuals on your ads. Now, in terms of the most expensive part of any clothing brand, I truly believe it's the photo shoots. Now, photo shoots can cost a lot of money, but there are things you can do to really make them cheap, and there's alternatives as well, and I'm going to give you those now. Now, the first thing is, if you do want to do a photo shoot, maybe you should ask some of your friends that might look a bit quirky, might be a little bit cool looking, to ask them if they can be volunteer models, and in return they might keep some of the garments, maybe one or two, or if they're willing to do it out of goodwill, they just do it for the day, they get some nice photos at the end. Then the camera, you can rent a camera or you can buy one, or even you can just use a phone camera. Phone cameras nowadays are getting very, very good, so you can use that. Now, when it comes to lighting, that's the most important part, but if you're doing it in natural day lighting, so let's say for example you're a streetwear brand, you might want to find places to do your photo shoot on the street. Streetwear, street, you're doing it in the street, whether it be down a lane, whether it be literally in the middle of nowhere. You can do it wherever you want, but lighting is important. Now, models, if you can't find them or you don't have any, then you'll have to use a modeling agency, and that's where things can get expensive, because one model for the day could cost you hundreds to $200. That's what I'm asking to ask of volunteers. Now, you can come to a website called placeit.com. That's professional mockups. So let's say, for example, you want a hoodie mockup like this, you might want it on your website, or you might want a photo like this, then you can get them done on here. Now, the only downside to a company like Placeit is the mockups are very basic in terms of the kind of looks you're going to get. So for example, this one might be quite good, this one might be quite good, this one might be quite good. The only difference with Placeit is, again, the identity and the creativity behind it is very, let's say, minimal. There's not much you can do with it. Don't get me wrong, it's come a long way since I first started using it back in the day, but again, it's very limited to what you can do with it. But it's definitely a good option if you're going to go with very, very minimal types of products like t-shirts, let's say trousers, let's say hoodies, then you can get away with it. Now, the last option that you've got is called professional mockups. Now, these are basically images where no one's actually wearing the product, but they're made to look like they're on a high-end mockup. So I've just shown you guys the ad library here, and I've typed in streetwear, United States. Now, these are what I call professional mockups. So you see this here, this is an image of a clothing brand, and this is on a hanger, and it's showing you the front of the t-shirt and the back of the t-shirt, but this could be a hoodie, this could be a sweatshirt, but it's a high-end mockup. It's made to look high-end. Now, the good news for you guys is mockups perform better, in my opinion, on Facebook than videos and photo shoots do. I find that I make more money running professional mockups than I do actually running lifestyle photos. Now, I find that lifestyle photos work better on websites. So when you go to a website and you view the product, that's when like lifestyle images work better. But for ads, I find mockups work better. Now, we've grown our clothing brands from just having mockups on the website and the ads to 6-7 figures. It can be done. And I don't know what it is. People like Facebook and Google prefer it. Again, if you look at this one here, this is what we call a catalog mockup. You can see a collection, and they've just used simple professional mockups to showcase the images of the clothing. Again, this one here is very similar to the type of mockups that we get made. You get a nice illustration put in the back to give you identity of the clothing brand. And then if you scroll across, you can see the images. So these are the type of mockups that we get made. You've got the t-shirt design, you've got some identity in the background instead of having a white canvas, and then you've got the designs. This one here, again, it's instead of being red, it's purple. These are very similar to the mockups that we get made. They're very professional looking, and they perform really, really well. And again, you've got a blank mockup here. This might not be a blank mockup, but it might just be a simple white sheet and taking a photo of it. Now, you can do this cheap at home. Use a white bed sheet or hire a professional photography sheet, put the product on the floor, shoot it with an iPhone camera. You can easily get these looks, but it could be also a professional mockup as well. Either one, they're very easy to do. This is a lifestyle image here. Again, another mockup here, more mockups here. Again, these ones are lifestyle. Again, they're just putting the item on the floor, doing a nice photography with a nice bit of lighting. You can do that with your cell phone very easily. So again, if you haven't got the money to do photo shoots, these types of ads work so well. This one's been done really, really well. I like the way they've done the outline on the mockup. That looks really nice. Now, you might be saying, how'd you get these made? How'd you get these made? You can do them on Canva. If you come to Canva and type in clothing and scroll down, you can get these made easily on Canva. So look on Canva, you've got all these you can get created. You can like use the templates, even go even more advanced than this. Or if you want something a bit more nicer and a bit more advanced, you can go to Fiverr again and hire somebody. So you can see I'm back on Fiverr and I've typed in clothing mockups, and you can see here I will create realistic mockups for your clothing brand. I will make realistic mockups for ads, and these are the same people you can use for your ads. And they're ranging from like $5 to $30 per mockup collection. So if you've got like 3 collections, you can get it done for roughly quite a cheap price. But you can use people like this to get this desired look. Now, these look beautiful, by the way. And by getting these done, you see another brand here using the same mockup design. And by the way, guys, I know I keep ranting on, but this style and formation works so well on Facebook ads. Now, again, when I'm talking about these mockup designs, I'm talking about them working so well on Facebook. They do also work really well on Google, but they're blank mockups. So on Google shopping catalogs, the only ones that I find work the best are these blanks. So you see this one here with the white background and the clothing, they're called blanks. They also work really well. And these lifestyle blanks as well, they work well. Now let's talk about the best platforms to advertise your clothing brand. Now, these are by far the 3 best ones that we've ever used. Facebook ads, that includes Instagram as well, and Google ads. Those are ad platforms that we use every single day in, day out, that create so much money for us. Now, Facebook, in terms of the actual ad strategy itself, the ad strategy is the same. Now, I've made loads of Facebook ad strategies that I'll leave linked in this cheat sheet that you can watch. The only difference in that ad strategy is just the visual that you're putting in the ad. So the actual ad set, the actual campaign, everything's the same. The only difference is what you're putting in the the ad, the actual visual. And that's based on what I've just taught you: markups, lifestyle markups, blank markups with the identity behind the markup. Those work so well. Carousels work well. DPA collections work well. 3 image carousels work well. All of that works so well. In the cheat sheet, I'll also include little snippets of our ads as well, so you can get an idea of how they look. Now for Google ads, what works really well is Google Performance Max Shopping, or PMax. PMax works so well on Google. And again, the only difference is the catalog. How Google works is you create a catalog, you import it through a feed, and then it shows it on an ad. Now Google catalogs work the best. So if you create a certain catalog for your clothing brand, put that into PMax, run it, it can perform really well. Again, I'm not going to teach you how to do Google PMax on this video. I've done it before. The only difference is what catalog you're pushing into Google feeds. Very easy, very simple to do, as long as you learn how Google works. Now in terms of how much money you should be spending on Facebook and Google a day, it's around about $50 to $100 a day, and see how it goes. And again, in those videos that I'm going to be listing in the cheat sheet, it will go over like a killing and scaling method in terms of how to reduce overspending, when you should try and move on to a new collection, in terms of all those kinds of things, so you don't overspend and waste money. And the last platform that I'd recommend, and this one's really dependent on how you want to identify your brand, is influencer marketing. Now influencer marketing is very dangerous but also very powerful. If you're going for a cheaper looking brand, you can get away with using influencers. But if you want to come across as a very high-end luxury brand, using influencers can actually make it look cheap and make it look worse than it is. So that's why some of our brands don't use influencer marketing. We only use Google and Facebook. Some brands that are designed to look a little bit more cheaper, they're not looking high-end, they're not meant to look like a Gucci and Off-White, we can use influencers. And again, I've created an influencer marketing strategy in a different video that I'll leave linked in the cheat sheet, teaching you guys how to work with influencers, how much you should pay them, how to work out how much they're worth. But in terms of working with influencers, it depends on the identity you want your brand to have. If you want your brand to have not a luxury look, then that's fine, use influencers. If you do, you might want to be careful which ones you're using, or using them at all. But anyway guys, that is how to launch your own clothing brand in 2023. I hope all the information's been useful. I know a lot of it might be hard to digest right now. It does take time, guys. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Starting a clothing brand can take months to get it off the line in terms of production. But I hope everything I've taught you today is going to help you, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. And if you want to see more content like this, let me know, and maybe I'll make some follow-up videos. If you want to see anything in particular when it comes to clothing, let me know and I can help you with it. But anyway guys, I wish you all the best, and I'll catch you in the next video.